I'm Joyce Hornady. You might say accuracy is my business. I make bullets.
You are listening to the Hornady Podcast.
Thanks for joining us and enjoy the show.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to the Hornady Podcast. I'm your host, Seth, and today I'm joined by more marketeers. We got Preston, Lentfer, and Judd, Jarzynka on the show today. Thanks for coming on, guys.
Absolutely, yeah. This will be an interesting one.
The dream team over here.
right there. Yeah.
It is the dream. Well, it's the podcast dream team because
somewhat, yeah.
You guys are what makes the show happen. And so everybody out there in podcast land, if you're enjoying the show, you have Preston and Judd to thank mainly. And we would appreciate all of the things that other YouTubers say, like, comment, subscribe, smash the like button. Go ahead and do all those things. And let's dive into today's episode. And I'm pretty excited about this one because we were just throwing around podcast ideas, which, we do because you're on the hook one a week, got to have them. And you run out of stuff to talk about, or
some people do more than one a week.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
You run into a situation where you have some technical difficulties or something, and you're like, oh, I'm between a rock and a hard spot. And this was Judd's idea out of right field. Hey, we're known for bullets and ammo. That's what we do. We are a bullet company, and we make world-class ammunition. What about all the stuff that's not bullets and ammo that we make that go unnoticed, or maybe not completely unnoticed, but, take a back burner anyway?
Yeah. Boy, I'm glad you guys got on board with it because after I said it, I was a little unsure. Hey, all this stuff that we're really known for and we're awesome at, let's do something else. It's not that. But
it does seem a little counterintuitive when you put it that way, but it's not because we do have a full catalog. Judd's got the catalog in front of him. Big full catalog of awesome products for a lot of things. But bullets and ammo always get, that's what gets all the press and generally all the podcasts. Well, we've got, we've picked out not quite a dozen things here that we make that are great that we think maybe aren't getting noticed or that you might not even be aware as a listener that we even have. So let's kick it off right here at the top with the brand new for 2024 HIT Target Impact Indicator. And that thing, it has changed the game in long range shooting, and not necessarily this product specifically, although this, we'll talk about this one and what makes it different and better. But HIT indicators in general, you start launching hot rod 22s and 6s out there to a half mile, 1,000 yards. Did you hit it? I don't know. Didn't move the steel, and I can't hear it and can't see it.
Didn't see any dirt.
Yeah. I'm excited for that one. I mean, it's going to be a game changer, just for the simplicity and then cost.
Price point.
Yeah.
We had it
say that.
charging up here, but that is really all it is. It is basically a 1-inch cube with some, elastic around there, and it's got an accelerometer inside that when you hit your target, senses the movement, the vibration, and then it flashes an ultra bright LED red light. You can see from, I want to say, a mile away, but
I've seen it from a mile away.
But you can see it.
Took it out there.
Sometimes you can see it from a mile away, depending on conditions. But with the naked eye, you can see this thing. If you're in glass, this thing stands out like a sore thumb. It actually blinks the Morse code for HIT, H-I-T, which is kind of cool. So, guys,
kind of cool, but not everybody's doing Morse code anymore, but it's pretty cool.
Hey, there's a lot of radio men out there, former military guys that had to go to learn Morse code as part of their radio man school, which is weird that, they're still teaching that. I mean, not weird, but either way, digress, guys. What makes the Hornady Target HIT indicator different than what's previously been on the market?
Well, like we talked about, price point is just absolutely huge. 2-pack is going to be around, we're offering it in a 2-pack, a 5-pack, and then kind of like a match directors or a ranges 50-pack, and that's going to get them well sub $10 a piece.
Yeah.
So, the other lights on the market are very, very good, but when you hit one, you're kind of like, oh my god.
Yeah, you hit that $200 unit, you put a bullet right through the center of that or something.
Feel a lot better hitting that one.
Yeah. Well, and this one, slightly out of harm's way. A lot of those indicators attach physically to the target you're shooting. This one, we pull it away. It attaches to the target stand instead of the actual target itself.
Yeah, and what's kind of cool is that'll wrap right around a T-post. That'll wrap around a lot of the manufacturer's AR500 posts, which which is just a fantastic idea if we're talking about ranges anyway.
Mhm.
An AR-500 post is just, how many T-posts have you seen get shot in half?
Oddly, quite a few, which is weird because I'm like, what are the odds? But obviously
Yeah.
pretty good.
It happens all the time. You go up and look at my steel targets at my range. I'm like, oh, I hit it there a few times. Whoops.
Yeah.
But that's what's really cool is you can get it up out of harm's way. Typically, those targets are a little bit of an angle, so all the splatter goes down, right, for the most part. So these are up here out of harm's way. Another cool thing that I've not really tested yet, and I'm kind of wondering about it, is maybe connecting a steel piece to another post, right,
Ooh.
back and to the side.
Oh, there you
And
go.
so maybe there's enough vibration. I mean, I think the engineers got the sensitivity on this pretty sensitive.
Yeah.
So I think that might be an excellent idea if you're worried about, this is way out there. This is up in some rocks and it's hard to get to.
Mhm.
That might save them. But yeah, you cannot beat the price point.
No.
These are rechargeable. I believe they left one out at our range over the winter.
They
went
did.
back out and it was on.
Wow.
Yeah, so the story was they, had some of these out at the Hornady range, using them, loving them. Wow, these things are cool. We should consider doing this as a product. And then winter happened, and if you're, in places where it gets wintry, you just move on with your life. Oh, it's snowing, we're not going to the range. So it sat out there all winter. And we hadn't planned on doing this as a new product. We were just kind of playing around with it. And I say we like I was involved. I certainly wasn't. But the people that were left it out there accidentally, just, well, we're done shooting, packed up, left things, moved on. 3 or 4 months later, it's now spring, and they go back out there for the first time. Somebody takes a shot on a piece of steel, and it lights up.
That's incredible.
So, and a testament to the quality of the battery.
The other thing that jumped out at me, you mentioned the big 50 pack for matches. Being around matches, and I shot the gap grind last year, it would be enjoyable to RO one, but
Oh,
man, it'd be kind of stressful calling impacts.
especially at like an AG Cup match or something.
That's
Yeah.
on you. Where if you just had a light indicator, man, that would make me feel a whole lot better about ROing a match.
It'd certainly be helpful, but you definitely still have to watch those bullets hit that plate, but definitely helpful.
Yeah.
Especially on those lighter ones.
Yeah.
22 cals.
Yep. Yeah. They're super useful. Price point's amazing. The battery stays charged for forever. It's got a onboard micro USB. You can just plug it into a little battery pack, charge that baby up right on the target stand. Perfect. This attached strap will go around a T-post or an AR-500 hanger. You can zip tie this sucker,
Comes with some zip ties too, I
Yeah,
believe.
put that thing around a 2x4 if that's what kind of target hanger you have. This is something that just makes it easy, especially if you're out there. A lot of us that live in the western part of the country here where you can get big wide open pastures and stuff. You set up some steel and shoot stuff far away for fun, for practice. And there's no one spotting for you. You're not at a actual, private range or anything. This is just shooting in a hayfield. This allows you to see, your impacts if you're shooting, maybe getting ready for hunting season, and your gun kicks you out of the scope before you can get back in there and watch it. You can see if you hit it. So really a nice piece here, new for 2024. And yeah, can't say nothing but good things about this thing, and we're excited about this one.
Yeah, absolutely.
The HIT Target Impact Indicator. Instant hit confirmation at extended ranges has never been easier. The HIT Target Impact Indicator easily attaches to most target stands and not the steel target itself. The highly sensitive internal accelerometer detects vibration when the target is impacted, activating the red LED lights that flash Morse code for HIT. Where impact confirmation can be difficult, light it up with the HIT Target Impact Indicator from Hornady.
You guys ready to move on?
Yeah, what's next?
What's next? The one I've got my hand on it here, the Rapid Safe Night Guard. So Hornady security, that's been around since 2014.
Did you say rapid safe? It looks like a clock.
Yeah, whammy. Hidden in plain sight. But we've had Hornady security for a bunch of years now, knocking on a decade here. So the Rapid Safe technology that uses an RFID chip to open these safes, and it has a battery backup and it has a barrel key backup, but that's nothing super new. But I think of all of our rapid safes, this one right here, the Night Guard, to me makes the most sense for, how many of us have a handgun for home defense. And you want it real close when you're sleeping. And this is, in my opinion, one of the best ways to secure it. I just love this little thing.
Yeah, so when I started in tech, we had the Gen 1 Rapid Safe, and then we moved on to the 2700 KP Rapid Safe. Both of those units, great units, but the lid would pop open, right?
Up.
Yeah. So then you would have your pistol stored in there. My houses are never big enough, right? So I could always use a bigger house. So my nightstand is right there, and I got to have a little nightstand and my lamp and just stuff like that. And you can't set anything necessarily on top.
Right. Because
When
you
you
got
have
your
that
cup
lid
for your
opening up.
dentures.
Right. Well, I got a spot for my retainer. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I get your point, though.
What's great about this is a drawer opening. So I could set, the way I have it in my house, my night lamp is set right on top of this thing.
Mhm.
And then, not to jump ahead, another beautiful feature is I've got my iPhone charger plugged in to this unit right here.
Yeah. I think that's one of the nice things that, one, like you mentioned, it is a drawer entry, which I can open up this drawer for the viewers. I've got the RFID. I'm using a sticker here, but we also sell a little watch band deal. We've got all kinds of entry methods, but you can just open it like that, and it presents your stuff right there. In the back, it's got a micro USB and a standard USB, so you can charge whatever devices you might want to charge, like your hit indicator, cell phone, iPhone, Apple Watch, whatever it may be. And then it's really hidden, kind of in plain sight. When the screen goes to sleep, it just displays the time. Just looks like a big
Looks like a clock.
1980s clock radio.
We all had one.
Yeah. But it is so convenient. The charging features, the clock, the drawer, and then the RFID. Like, you just saw me open it up with the RFID sticker. What I've personally done is put the sticker underneath the lamp. I just take my lamp and open the darn thing.
Well, and the other neat thing about it is there's a bolt pattern in the bottom, I believe, right?
There is indeed.
So you could bolt it down if you do that to your nightstand or whatnot, but then you can also cable it, to
the bed or
to the
whatever.
bed or,
Yeah, it comes
or
with an
whatever.
included security cable.
Yep. Yeah, so of all of our rapid safes, one, it's a system, right? So the same, RFID sticker that I have back here on my phone, that one sticker could, if I had 100 rapid safes, I could open 100 of them with that one sticker. And that's really convenient once you're involved in the system. So you can have this by your nightstand. You could have, the one that you travel with. You could have one of our bigger safes that'll hold long guns. And you can get in there, maybe the vehicle safe, for example, and all with that same RFID chip. So you can do the sticker, the watch band, the machines themselves will hold 5 unique readers. So you and your wife could, each have the watch band, a sticker, the key fob, whatever it may be. So just a great unit. And again, so many of us have a handgun bedside. And if you're going to do that, you can't just put it in the drawer. You can't. You got to secure it. I say you got to. I can't tell you what to do. And, for the single man out there living in a 1-bedroom house or apartment, do your thing. But most of us with families, with kids, with people coming over, you have an obligation to responsibly secure your stuff. And this is a really easy way to do it.
Yep. Big fan of that one. That's probably my favorite rapid safe.
But yeah, we're talking about this specific rapid safe, but just the Hornady security line in general. A lot of options. This has the drawer system. You talked about the other versions that presents the firearm to you.
Yep.
There's, like an AR locker. There's an actual locker size gun safe. There's a lot of options in the Hornady security line.
Yep. So definitely look out for the Hornady security line, staying in the security vein, but now jumping over to Snapsafe, which is a company we purchased, I believe, back in 2015 or so. A lot of cool products from Snapsafe. Modular safes is a big thing. One of the home run products in the Snapsafe line that I feel maybe doesn't get the credit it deserves, or people see it and go, oh, okay, well, that's going to be really hard to install, or I'll have to hire some contractors to do something. I want to dispel a lot of that right now, because one of the overlooked items, I think, in the Snapsafe line is our vault doors, which who doesn't think that's just cool?
Yeah, and especially people building these days. A lot of folks, at least in the Midwest here where we're at, they'll pour a basement and then they'll have their front stoop, and then all the walls are concrete because of that. a lot of folks are putting these vault doors in that area. So like they have a secure concrete wall room.
Mm-hmm.
It's absolutely beautiful. Concrete top even because
Yep.
it's a front stoop, right?
Yep. But you could also put this in a traditional 2x4, 2x6 framed wall.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and really easy to install. We did the setup video for the product launch, and man, it was pretty slick. There was a few of us there that got it into the location, but after that, it was two of us lifted it up. One guy held, and you drill your holes and put your lags in, and you're essentially done.
Yeah. Yeah, and we've got a couple different lines in the vault door. We have our original vault door, and we have the premium. Now, the original vault door, that one's available in 2 different sizes, and we would really encourage people to, if you can, if you're building kind of a safe room, to consider doing an in-swing door, especially in the tornado alley, and we're up here on the northwestern edge of that. Tornadoes are a real thing, and the month of May gets real hectic, and so you wouldn't want to be taking shelter and not be able to open your door. But we do offer some models as an outswing, and then we have the premium vault door that takes the regular vault door and it changes a few things up. Number one, the original vault door is available in any color as long as it's black.
Henry Ford.
Yep. And then the premiums, those are available in an off-white and kind of like a gunmetal gray color option. They're just a little more aesthetically pleasing, for your interior design types. Then inside the door, it has a magnesium oxide fire blanket to help enhance that fire protection. And then on the back side, we have a Square-Lok organization system on there. So tons of options, tons of versatility. And the installation, if you've ever hung a pre-hung door, if you've ever installed a pre-hung door, it's really about as simple as that. This has a metal frame, so you stand it up, you shim where you need to shim. It's going to be pretty easy to get it plumb and true with the world because it's made of metal. It's not as flimsy as putting in a pre-hung door jamb. You lag it right in, either right into the concrete or into the studs, whatever's there, and you got yourself a vault door. And you've got an eyepiece. It looks cool. There's a kind of a regalness to it, in my opinion. Like, that's just a big vault door. It's just cool. And compared to buying like a used bank vault door or some of these bigger models, you get all the security, but these are pretty darn affordable for what they are.
Yeah, and you might look at them and say, whoa, those have got to be heavy. But, when you're installing them, you can actually pop the door off of the door frame, so you've got 2 pieces to carry into the basement or wherever it's going. So you can make it a little bit more manageable.
Mm-hmm.
And that shipped to your door.
Right there. Yeah. You order a vault door from any of our retailers, it will drop ship right to your house, discreet packaging, and it will deliver to what's known as the threshold. So they can't bring it in your home for you, but they can bring it real close, like right to your garage door.
Yep.
So really a cool option, enhances the security. And for a lot of us in this world that have, gun collections or are, I'm not in the business of gun collecting, but it is kind of a corollary. Like I'm in the business of shooting a bunch of different things and you end up with a bunch of different guns. And sometimes you can only have so many 56 or 60 gun safes before it makes sense to just take a whole room and dedicate to your hunting stuff, your shooting stuff, the firearms themselves, the reloading. And this is one way to secure that room. And also, if you're, like Preston mentioned, if you're in an area where you can get, a concrete room or something, you can enhance the security there, and you have a really good tornado shelter or something like that. So
yeah, and they're not just for guns or outdoors or anything like that. Let's say you're a guitar enthusiast or something, a fancy wine collector. These can be used by anyone.
Yeah, that is true, and that another reason that they're slightly overlooked because we're normally associated with the shooting community, but vault door you vault anything you want.
Yep.
So
anything of value.
That's pretty cool. So moving from security, jumping over to Hornady reloading. And, I have always viewed Hornady through the reloading lens because as a child, that was my introduction to Hornady these are Hornady bullets. This is Hornady reloading tools and Pacific reloading tools at the time. Dad still got a bunch of old Pacific reloading tools. But that was my introduction to Hornady, but not everyone views us as the reloading tools company. And there's one tool in particular that I think is just a home run product. and that is our lab grade precision scale. That thing, it delivers. We get spoiled here at Hornady. We've gotten to use a lot of A&D products, $600, $700, $800, $1,200 scales, and I can't have one of those at home. I mean, I can, but that's a big chunk of change for a precision measuring instrument. And now you can get one a little bit more economically priced, but darn good, just as accurate, just as precise, high resolution, high accuracy scale.
Yeah, I believe .04 grain accuracy on that thing. I believe some of the more expensive, ADIs or FXs, whatever have you, might go to a little bit more resolution. But I mean, I think the days of us kernel counting are over. For the most part.
This scale does have the ability to measure to the kernel.
That's wild.
That's wild. Now, I don't do that anymore, like you mentioned, but it's really nice to have that much consistency in a product. And largely what I end up doing with it is I'll set my powder measure up where it's dropping where I want, and then I'll put the exact amount of powder I want in the pan. I'll set that on the scale. I'll zero the scale, and then I'll throw powder right from the powder measure into the pan and measure it. And if it says whatever I decide my tolerance is, plus 1/10, minus 1/10, whatever, 2/10, or 0, and I know this scale is going to hold at 0. I know it's not going to wander, and I know it has the ability to measure individual kernels if that's what I'm after.
Yeah, and I think it has some other cool features that, we're shooting plate matches for the most part, and we're shooting hunting or whatever have you. But I think it's got the ability to do a count and then what's the word I'm looking for?
Print to Excel. It will do that. It does have a cord. So if you were bench resting, or if you're using this if you're still doing ladder tests or OCWs or whatever, you can actually hook this up to your computer, open an Excel document, and then every time you record a charge, you hit the print button, it'll store that charge in your Excel document, so you can really keep some detailed notes if that's what you're into.
Yeah, I'll be darned. Yeah, a guy could really get scientific with that thing.
Yeah, it's a great scale and super useful.
Functionality, too. It's got the new LCD screen on there, too. So
yeah, touchscreen.
Yep, definitely an upgrade from, not even that long ago, right? There was a huge gap, in my opinion, for reloaders between the affordable scale for reloading and some of those A&D units or some of those really expensive jeweler scales. There was a big gap, and this really bridges that gap where you can find yourself maximizing quality and economy all in one unit. So yeah, big fan of that lab grade scale. And then we've got a nice little setup here to change gears. We're going back to security. This is another one that I'll dive in and tell you guys what I plan on doing with this stuff, but it's the Square-Lok system.
Yeah, which we've had available inside the Hornady security safe. Now, as you mentioned, the premium vault door, now available as a panel.
Yeah. So, for everybody out there, it's cool when you go to your buddy's shop and he's hyper organized and he's got slat walls and all of his tools are organized, or you go into somebody's gun room and everything's just, the wall system that they've invested in is very organized, very purposeful, and it just looks cool. And you can tell they take care of their stuff, and it helps them be more organized and take care of their stuff. So that Square-Lok system, that's our patented, mounting solutions for storage, is available, like Judd mentioned, in a panel. So you can get this in an 18 by 36 inch panel or a 12 by 18 inch panel, and you can line these panels up. If you could wrap your whole house in these things if you were so inclined. Now that you got the panels on the wall, we have an incredible suite of everything you'd want: drawers, shelves, horizontal gun storage, vertical gun storage, suppressor organizers, document holders. I mean, you name it. Pegs.
You did pretty good. I was checking them off.
Oh, was
you
you?
were saying them over here. Yeah, literally any kind of peg, hanger, hook, basket you can imagine. There's all kinds of different things available.
Yep.
Shelves. Yeah, like the whole 9 yards. This is a complete package.
Yep. And so, Preston, you really alluded to exactly my setup, which is built a house 5 years ago, just now finishing the basement, but I had my front porch poured hollow. And so from my basement, I have access to a pretty good, decent sized room, vault door entry that I can use as a tornado shelter should I need to, but wrap that whole thing in these Square-Lok organization panels, put my reloading bench in there. I've got gun storage. I've got I got hunting stuff storage, suppressor organizers, and they're all secure. I don't have to worry about kids getting in there or any sort of unlawful entry. One, you'd have to break into my house. Two, you'd have to break through a vault door. So I feel good about putting suppressors in there and stuff like that. And it's just a great way to keep organized. And we do the same things. All three of us are running amok throughout the year, hunting, shooting, going to matches, doing whatever. And you have all this good equipment. It's really nice to be able to get home from a hunt or shoot or whatever, or just going to the range, clean your stuff, organize it, put it away because it has a spot to go. And when you're ready to use it again, you can go back to that spot and it's always right there. And I just love this organization system. And when it was originally brought out, like you mentioned, Judd, it was available, but it wasn't widespread. It was, you bought it, behind the vault door or in one of our safes. Now with these wall panels, it's just the next level. And we've got, like you mentioned, everything you could want to stay organized. It's great.
And I would say there'll be folks that might look it up and say, wow, that's much more expensive than pegboard or slat board. But you alluded to it. This is the next level of stuff. This is so much better than
this isn't
pegboard.
particle board. This isn't MDF.
This is metal.
Yeah.
So it is a very high quality system. And if you've got stuff that you care about and is high quality, maybe you should hang it up on something high quality too.
Absolutely. Good way to end that one.
Utilize your space your way with the modular Hornady Security Square-Lok organizing system. Mount the Square-Lok panels anywhere in your home or shop. Then attach the wide assortment of Square-Lok accessories to securely store firearms, tools, gear, or any other valuables in any possible configuration. Keep your reloading bench or gun room organized with the Square-Lok modular organizing system from Hornady Security.
Moving on to my least and Judd's favorite product. No, all jokes aside, this is one that's been on the market for a while. The old lock and load Hornady bolt ball, turning practical into tactical. Judd, tell us about the bolt ball.
Hey, I didn't know it was something I needed in my life until I had it. And now I can't do without it. I put one of these on my 6.5 Creedmoor. It's a Ruger Predator, so a little smaller of a little bolt knob on there.
Gen 1 Ruger.
Yep, that's true. And I threw this bolt ball on there and just such a good hand feel now.
Yep. Well, I'm
gonna stop you there before you get too out of hand though, and say this is your least favorite product. Do you or do you not have a mini action Howa with one on right now?
I do not. I do have a mini action Howa,
and it had one on there.
If it did, I'll fight the person who put it on there.
You did.
Nay. No.
Now he's hiding behind the truth.
Yeah, I do have a mini action Howa. One of their ultralight carbon fiber 6 arcs. That thing is exquisite. But where I was going to go with this is, all jokes aside, when you have a mini action Howa or a Ruger, a Gen 1 Ruger, the bolt handles are relatively small, which is fine, until you put a slightly larger magnification optic on there. When you start putting bigger scopes that have bigger objectives and bigger ocular housings, you jam your thumb into the ocular housing to run the bolt. You put the bolt ball on there, give the bolt a squirt with Hornady one shot, push that thing on there, and it does improve the ergonomics for sure. It really does. And for a couple bucks, you don't have to take it to a machinist. Pop it on there.
It makes bolt manipulation on some of those shorter bolts so much faster. I think of like a factory Remington 700 from a few years ago. Any of the Howas honestly can benefit from this. Rugers, like if it can fit on there and it's a slightly smaller bolt, you might think, like maybe you do, that it's turning practical into tactical, and maybe it's a little bit gaudy, whatever have you. It is
It's actually useful.
extremely practical.
Yeah.
Like it makes it so much easier to manipulate the bolt.
Yeah, hunting with gloves, the
Oh,
the
yeah.
metal
Oh, yeah.
almost has like a slick feel to it. And this, just the rubber texture,
Yep.
it's got a little bit of a, not much of a stickiness, but there's a little bit
It's
of
tacky, yeah.
a tack there, and yeah, hunting
It's
with
bigger
gloves.
when you got big gloves on.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's easy to grab. You can just bump it, start sending that bolt up, and it comes right
Yeah.
back. Yeah,
It changes almost like the mechanical advantage or the leverage, really, because you're further away on the bolt.
Mhm.
Yeah, good hand feel. All jokes aside,
It's a great product.
I have ran several on somebody else's guns, and it's like, yeah, okay, I do get it. It does make some sense.
well, it's a cheap, easy upgrade.
And if you don't like it, pull it off.
Take it off. Yeah, give it to your kids.
Yeah, they'll bounce it around. Trust me, I know.
Yeah, my kids will break windows and stuff with it, probably. Moving on to another one that, Preston, going back to our tech days, this one it seemed like a lot of demand for it. We'd take these phone calls from the reloader out there in the field, and this was something that they were kind of after. And we have it. It's available. It's awesome. We have a reloading bench right behind us. It's so
Got two of 'em on
convenient. The quick detach reloading mounting system.
Yeah, and what's really, really cool about that is, like I say, my house isn't big enough. It never is. Never probably will be. I have a small area to reload. So I like to run an AP. I like to run a classic press. Just depends on the situation. I only have room on the bench for one of those. So with this system, I can literally have a plate on both of those presses, and I can pull one off, drop, put it over on the floor, put it to the side, put the other one back on, and switch them back and forth. And it's got all the universal mounting holes for anything like that needs some rigidity to it, like
Yeah.
our case trimmer,
Powder measure,
neck turn
turner.
tool, all of those things. It's really cool.
Yep, it's useful, especially if you're running more than one press, and that's really what makes it shine. And I think there's a lot of us that would love to have a 20 by 30 room with a vault door entry, Square-Lok all
It's bigger
over.
than my 2-car garage.
But yeah, and a reloading bench that's 15 foot long. And in reality, most of us have a reloading area that is in the corner of a room because that's where it fits. And this system, like you said, I can pop it on, I can pop it off, and I can still, if you have your AP set up for 9mm, we'll still set up for 9mm. All your dies and everything's intact. Pop that plate off, throw in your single stage, do your precision loading, throw the AP back on, you're up and running. It's that quick.
Yep. And it is super rigid too.
That's a great add to this conversation. I like that. That was one we didn't discuss before.
Well, I threw it in there.
That was a good call.
Yep. Well, and maybe it gets slightly overlooked in our product lineup because not everybody has that same, I don't have room for it kind of deal. But I feel like there are people that are doing what a lot of us did before, which was either not get a second press, or an AP press or, whatever, because I don't have a place to put it, or threading in the bolts and then threading them back out and reinstalling. This just makes it quick, simple, easy.
Yeah, and you're like on a case trimmer or something like that. I've been known to C-clamp those to a desk or something like that. If I could just get a plate and I throw the case trimmer on there, I can throw that in there. It's as rigid as can be.
Yep.
And I'm not actually drilling into, the desk a whole bunch of times.
Yep. Very true.
Gives you some bench space back too
Mhm.
quickly.
Yep. Yes, it does. So check that one out. That's the quick detach reloading mounting system. And the next one we're not going to spend a ton of time on, but I do want to mention it because there have been people that have reached out, podcast@hornady.com, dropped comments on the videos, checking out the gear Hornady's wearing.
Yeah.
Not Hornady, Preston's wearing the old Hornady flannel right now, and that is Hornady gear. And I feel like there's maybe some confusion on a little bit of this. So we'll just clear that up right now. If you're on Hornady.com and you're looking at apparel on Hornady.com, that is Hornady apparel, like the shirt that Judd has on. Well, there's a third party that we work with that does HornadyGear.com. And we would encourage you guys, if you're fans of Hornady, you want to rep the brand, check out HornadyGear.com. That's where you're going to find a much bigger lineup of apparel than what we have at Hornady. So Hornady gear, coats, jackets, those new flannels, different hats, stickers, different t-shirts, I mean, all kinds of stuff, and that is always changing. And that's something that, like I said, if you're out there, you want to rep the Hornady brand, you're going to find some premium options out there at HornadyGear.com.
And if you're a match shooter or you spend a lot of time in the sun, some of the most awesome solar hoodies out there.
Oh,
Yeah, you got it. I live in a solar hoodie.
Yep.
Yeah, got to keep the sun off you, especially off my dome.
Well, you especially.
Yep. So you do got to take that serious.
Find the latest shirts, hats, hoodies, and accessories that you see here on the podcast and much more at HornadyGear.com.
Moving on now to Hornady One Shot, the gun cleaner and lube. Here it is. This is the big can now, 14 ounces. We do make a smaller one. This stuff right here often, I think, does get overlooked for the versatility, I think.
Yeah. We actually sit a couple offices down from one of our compliance guys, like the head compliance guy, and he has tested or seen the test where this is tested as far as rust prevention goes. And he says this is up there in the top 1 or 2 every time with all the different products. It's absolutely remarkable. But the reason I like it is I can spray it on a gun after I'm done cleaning it, like relatively heavy, wipe it clean. It gives it a little bit of a sheen that you might say, but quite quickly it's gone, right? But the sheen is gone rather, but it's actually doing a lot of protection after it's clean. But it also, you can hose stuff down that's greasy or dirty, whatever have you, and this will blast it right out.
Yep. Hey, that's the hunt saver for me, Preston,
Yeah.
and you know it. I'm still waiting on the how to clean a shotgun episode. We got the barrel, but all I do so far, we've been out on some hunts together, and I've got a gummy shotgun. I hose it down, just do a quick clean with the gun cleaner and lube, and it's back running. Yeah, it's a hunt saver.
It certainly can be. It can be a hunt saver. It can be a barrel saver. It can be a tool saver. It can be a lot of things. And so the Dynaglide, that's something that's not proprietary to Hornady. We pay for that Dynaglide technology, and it does have mild solvent, but it does leave a dry lubricant, so that'll protect it from rust, corrosion, help with the friction. It's just really fantastic. Yesterday, before we were recording, I told you guys I bored a hole through the foundation of my house to run some EMT through so I could wire my gun room that I'm working on. So I got done, and I took my rotary hammer, cleaned it all up, and took my 1-inch SDS bit, which is like a $45 or $50 bit, cleaned it off with some one-shot, hosed it down, wiped it off with a paper towel, sprayed it down again, let it sit for about 60 seconds, and then all the propellants and stuff evaporated off. And I can put it right back in the case, and it's not going to be rusty, dirty, nothing when I go to get it out and use it again. So a lot of versatility there. I've used it to take state park stickers off my windshield.
I can't tell you how many things I've used this for.
Yeah.
Almost anything that doesn't involve it like an eating utensil. Like I've probably cleaned it with this.
Yep. It is versatile.
It's great.
One of the great things is good on your presses. If you're a reloader, you got to have some of this, for the exposed steel, your dies, the ram on the press definitely, makes it last long, keeps the surface rust, keeps the surface finish looking great, and it keeps it smooth, and it can be a hunt saver too. I was hunting coyotes in Wyoming in February, and it was a hunt saver there. Not necessarily a hunt saver because it was right before we went to hunt, but we were getting out of the truck, and somebody went to send the bolt home on an AR, and it didn't really want to go. And, well, let's take a look at it, dropped the thing, took it apart, took the bolt, wiped it down with a baby wipe, sprayed it down. You got to have some baby wipes out there on the prairie.
Yeah.
Anyways, sprayed it down with some one-shot, let it sit for, again, about 60 seconds or so, cleaned off the charging handle, put everything back together. She ran like a skin cat the whole rest of the trip.
Yeah. I wouldn't call Judd's a hunt saver because Judd still had a single shot. Now,
I didn't. Yeah,
and I was doing the shooting anyway, so it's not like you were hitting anything anyway. But anyway,
it's because his gun was jamming.
Well, he had one shot. to get the ducks. But yeah, I don't know. Drop a comment below. I run a pump shotgun because I am the ultimate in reliability. Do you run a semi-auto or a pump when you're hunting? Let us know.
Yep, for the waterfowlers. Definitely want to keep some one-shot. I keep a can in my truck. I've got the deck drawer systems in one of the little containers. I got a can of one-shot in there at all times. You know what I did here the other day? Sprayed down my ball on my hitch.
Yeah, sometimes those need a little lube.
Yep, because you dropped my trailer off. You said it wasn't one to
How'd it go?
smooth as silk.
Yeah, I had to use a screwdriver on
Yeah,
it before.
They're super great, and I want to point out, not to be confused with the one-shot case lubricant.
Yeah, different.
It is a different product. It still has that same Dynaglide, but the solvent, the actual lubricant, the carrier, that is all in different ratios. So different products for sure. But the gun cleaner and lube, not to be overlooked as, gosh, it's almost as useful as 3-in-1 oil. It's convenient. All right, so switching over to another one that we've had for a long time and probably gets overlooked, but I could see this being a product that is really, really popular and then, maybe loses some popularity because of where we're at as a shooting society. And that is the Lock and Load AP Primer Pocket Swaging Tool. And I say it might ebb and flow in popularity because, man, 2013, 14, 15, you couldn't buy 5.56. Remember those years? And so people were reloading brass pickup from the range. If it looked like a 223 that somebody was going to try to reload it, and you were always running into crimped primer pockets. Same thing with 7.62 by 51 or 308 Winchester. Running into those primer pockets that have the crimp. You got to get that out of there if you're going to reload those cases. And now coming into 2024, reports are 5.56 ammo is in hot demand. So I could see a huge surge into reloading 5.56, 308 Winchester, some of those big high volume cartridges. And that's a product that does get overlooked a little bit.
Or even just reloading in general. If people are starting to get into reloading, a lot of times if you do 223 or 5.56, a lot of times your first brass is range pickup. I mean, I guarantee mine was, and I didn't know about crimps, right? So you go to the internet. Now the internet's full of information, but they say you either have to cut it out or swage it or move the material, move the crimp.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell you from firsthand experience, I'd rather move the material than cut it out.
I have cut it out.
Cow.
And if you're doing 100 sticks, no
Probably
problem.
not the end of the world.
You're
Your
doing
hand will hurt a little bit.
1,000 sticks, I'd much rather use something. And this is great because it's on our AP.
Yeah, and we do have it set up for a single stage. So we do have that as well. But on this AP, once you get it dialed in and going, you are literally dropping a stick, pulling a handle, taking the done one, dropping. I mean, it's as fast as you can pull the handle. You are removing these crimps.
Yep, you're getting a good rhythm down. You can get those crimps out of there. And once you do it once, it's done for, the life of that brass. So you can reload that stick again and again and again. Yeah, and it's just one of those that will make your life easier. Your hand will thank you.
Oh, my gosh. And I don't know. I'm not that old, but old football player, my hands hurt.
Yeah.
Just thinking about cutting out crimps by hand.
There was a time I shot through at Winchester quite a bit, and I was unaware that at the time Hornady had opted to swedge the crimp the primers in .308 Winchester ammo. So I had ordered like 250 rounds or 60 rounds of .308 Winchester 168 Bowtail hollow point match. And this would have been like 2014. And I shot it all up, and I have all this brass. It's fire formed. I did some training. This is great. Now I'm going to get it all prepped and ready, and I'm going to reload. I'm going to have 250 sticks ready for my, first match of the season or whatever. Didn't know that it was a crimped primer pocket. Got a primer pocket cutter. Started cutting it out. I think I made it through 20 sticks. Took all the brass into a bucket and gave it away. And told them that the primer pockets need swedged or get that crimp removed. I just wasn't going to do it. I couldn't.
And the beautiful thing about this system is we have it for 5.56 and 308. So the big
if
heavy
this was
hitters,
around, I would have.
Yeah, the big heavy
through
hitters, we've got you covered.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to do volume, look into this.
Yep, I agree. So that's what we had kind of like initially that we wanted to talk about. Is there anything you guys think that we might have glossed over? You know, I would encourage the listener, check out our catalog. The catalog is obviously available on the internet. You can download it on your phone, look on it on our website, or we still print a physical catalog. We'd be happy to send you one. So check all that out and go through that catalog. You'd be surprised what you find in there that maybe you didn't know we make that is incredibly useful.
Yeah.
And, another one of those that I just came to me was our case trimmer. Judd's on that page right now. We have the power adapter for the case trimmer. That's another one. You got the case trimmer that you crank by hand. We got an adapter to hook that baby up to a drill.
Once you try that once, that's all you'll do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so many little things just to make that reloading process better, that shooting, that cleaning, whatever it is. We've got a huge array of products.
We have a full catalog,
to say the least. Anything last minute that jumped up to you guys?
I'd just say in general, I enjoyed this conversation. It was kind of one, a step in a different direction from what we've talked about in the past. And there could be a lot of honorable mentions.
The Cam-Lock bullet puller is a good one that some people don't think about. A lot of people, when you think of bullet puller, you think of the old hammer, right?
Yeah, the kinetic hammer.
I've hammered plenty of bullets out of cases, but the Cam-Lock bullet puller is a heck of a lot easier.
Yeah.
I can promise you that.
Yeah. Well, guys, like you said, there's a ton of honorable mentions. We could spend all day talking about it, walking through the catalog, but I think we really highlighted some of the ones that are top of mind, at least for us. And again, I mentioned it earlier, but encourage the listener to go check it out for themselves. And if you have product suggestions, that's something we're always attuned to listening to. Can't guarantee that they'll ever see the light of day, but if you've got a good idea, we'd like to know about it.
Yep.
And you can submit those at podcast@hornady.com. And, that's not necessarily our wheelhouse, but we can forward them on to the engineering team for their review as well. So we'd love the interaction. That really what that comes down to.
Yep. We like hearing from you.
We really do. Yep. So reach out, comment on this podcast. We'd like a thumbs up, subscribe, tell your friends. And if you got something that you want us to know, we have that email address so you can get a hold of us directly. I spend not as much time as you, Preston, but we can't respond to all of them, but like good, legitimate questions, we try to get those guys an answer. So if you want to reach out to us directly, you sure can.
Yep, podcast@hornady.com.
Well, guys, I enjoyed chatting with you guys. Thanks for taking the time out of the day to talk about these products. And like we've been talking about, we got a whole lot more.
Yep, you bet.
All right, guys, hopefully you enjoyed this podcast about some products that you might not know Hornady makes and how beneficial they can be. We hope you enjoyed it. We'll catch you on the next one.